You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's up? We got a comment that said they wanted some like quick minimal ingredient stuff. So I'm gonna try and do that. We're just gonna make something really simple, also something really classic. I'm just gonna show you the basics on how to do it. You can dress it up however you want, add whatever you want, make it a little bit healthier if you want, but I'll show you the ultimate classic way. It's mac and cheese. So we're gonna make a Mornay sauce. We're gonna cook some dried pasta. We'll combine the two. And we're gonna try to make it really saucy. I think mac and cheese has this tendency to get really dry, and people bake it, and then it gets really dry and it becomes this coagulated mess. So we're gonna make it really saucy, really good. We're still gonna do the topping, and this is optional, but it's gonna make it seem like it was baked, but we're gonna do it separately so that it doesn't end up drying out the pasta. So let's get started. I got some butter and some flour. We're gonna make a roux. This is a very, very classic, traditional. This is like one of the first things you'll learn if you go to culinary school, how to make a roux. They say equal parts, butter and flour, but I find it's a bit too much. So you just wanna melt this butter, do it over like medium heat. You don't wanna brown it. And we'll add like, I don't know, there's a 1/4 cup in there, so let's do like, I don't know, three or 4 tablespoons, like that much. That seems, oh, maybe a bit more. And just combine these, cook them like, cook it really lightly. And you just want to like cook the flour out. Like flour's really raw. Like if you just like, if you don't cook this out, it'll taste like raw flour. And if you dab your finger and taste raw flour, it tastes fucking disgusting. So just give it a minute, let this cook out, and blend it as best as you can. So our water's boiling as well for our pasta, so I'm gonna get that going. Also, we're timing this video, so I'm really trying to do this in 15 minutes. If it doesn't happen in 15 minutes, it's only because I have to stop and talk. But I assure you, you can do this in 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go in with half a bag of some good dry pasta. And no oil in the water, none of that, just lots of water. That's what makes pasta not stick, is you need a lot of water to pasta. So even though we're only cooking like 1.5, 2 portions, I filled this huge pot, just because I will ensure everything cooks really, really evenly. And season out the water with salt. If you want to know like how much salt you should put, because people will be like, put a ton of salt, put a ton of salt. I wouldn't say put a ton of salt, but put enough that it tastes, if you taste the water, it tastes salty. It tastes like seawater kind of. So this is bubbling. We can slowly add our milk. I don't really know how to. This is like the only way milk comes now, hey? I don't buy milk ever. Okay, so we're gonna eyeball this, but add it slow. What the fuck? Who designed this? Add it really slow. Fucking. Just add it bit by bit and blend it in each time. And then once it's like pretty liquidy and all blended, then you don't have to add it as slow. You can pretty much like go in with how much you need. This is like a liter. I'm honestly gonna probably use the most of it. You want to drink this? Does anyone drink milk anymore? Do you know what I realized? I for sure burned these. Okay, so I forgot that I put these in before we started filming. These are breadcrumbs. These are burnt to fuck. So just take a pan, take some normal breadcrumbs. You can buy these at the store. If you don't want to buy them and you have leftover bread, I don't buy bread often, so I actually don't have any, but usually I actually would just leave it out on the counter to dry out, and then I would put it in a blender and pulse it until you get this texture. And it's kind of nice when you do it with your own bread, because if you're using like a nice bread and you have like a nice rye or a nice sourdough, you get that flavor in there. These ones are like kind of generic, but I'm gonna pop those in for like 3 minutes, maybe not 20 minutes like they just were, at 425, just till they're like toasted. And we'll put that on top till like, that's what people bake on mac and cheese, but we're just gonna garnish it. Once this comes up to a simmer, simmer it for about 5 minutes and judge the thickness accordingly. If it doesn't look that thick, don't worry, because we are adding cheese, which is gonna thicken it a lot. But if after we add the cheese and you want to thicken it more, you can always add more roux. So like, this happens a lot working in a kitchen where someone will make you're making 20 liters of sauce, you're eyeballing a lot of this stuff. You'll be like, shit, it's not thick enough. What do I do? Like, I already did the roux, but you can cook more roux in a separate pan and you can just add it in to your hot sauce. Should I chug it for the camera? Ugh. I don't like it. I would like it if there was like an Oreo in it or something, but like, I did the cheese ahead of time, and I just wanted to show like 2 different ways. Like, I grated most of it, but if you're really trying to do this in under 15 minutes and you just want to thinly slice it, you can totally do that. You don't really have to grate it. I just like grating it because it'll blend faster. But yeah, you don't have to get like too crazy. As long as you slice it really, really thin, it'll blend. It'll totally blend. We can also season this now. I like black pepper in mac and cheese, so I'm gonna put a decent amount in there. I also just like the way it looks when there's like a little bit of pepper in the sauce. Fuck, it's hot, dude. It's so fucking hot. Oh shit, the breadcrumbs. Pretty close. One more minute on those. Some salt in here. Now, depending what kind of cheese you're using, I wouldn't season your sauce too much until after the cheese. Like, you can do your final season, because you can use whatever cheese you want in this. I'm using white cheddar and Gouda, but if you're using like, let's say you're putting some Parm in there or some Asiago or Pecorino, that stuff's a little bit saltier, so I would just like watch your salt. You can always season at the end. These cheeses are pretty mild, so I know I can add some salt, and I'll probably add more as well, but yeah, just watch out for that if you're using different types of cheese. When it comes to like cheese selection for mac and cheese, I would say you want a neutral cheese mostly, so you want something like a cheddar, a white cheddar, anything from the cheddar family really is like the most classic. And then if you want to add something else, just do like, keep it like 30% mild, and then if you want to add something crazy, feel free. You could put a little bit of goat cheese in there. You can go crazy with it. You can make like a 4 cheese mac and cheese, but I just find when you start doing that, it's like gets super muddled. You can't really taste any of the cheeses individually, so I like to just go with 2. Okay, so at this point, this is a bechamel. You're never gonna need to know these terms, but a bechamel is a milk sauce, a thick milk sauce. Once you add cheese to it, it becomes a Mornay sauce. Both those are just pointless French words that they teach us and they tell us we have to use, but honestly, it's pretty pointless. So this has been cooking, it's been simmering. As you can see, it's like thicker than it was originally. And now I'm slowly, actually first I'm gonna check those noodles because we're trying to do this in under 15 minutes, so. Oh, true, and breadcrumbs. Good fucking call, Brendan. Okay, perfect timing. Normally if I was cooking like a pasta and making this building a sauce with the pasta, I reserve some of that water. For this, I'm not really gonna worry about that. So I'm gonna add the cheese, just kind of slowly, and whisk it in. You wanna do this like slowly, but also you don't wanna do it too slow because you don't want this cheese to cook too long. Cheese is mostly fat. So what happens if you let's say you make this sauce and then this is a mistake that would happen probably, like a pretty real mistake, is that like someone would make this sauce and then be like, oh, I'm just gonna simmer it till company's here. But if you simmer something with cheese in it for so long, because there's so much fat, what happens is the sauce breaks and you end up with all this oil at the top of your sauce, and that's the fat from the cheese separating. So you don't want to cook this continuously. What you would want to do is, if you were making this ahead of time, you can make the sauce, you want to cool it down right away, and then you can reheat it over really low heat. So the way that I want to assemble this is by just tossing it in a bowl. This is one of those things that I don't believe you should cook. I find mac and cheese, you see it always cooked, the sauce is cooked with it, and then it's so dry and gross. So what I'm gonna do is take a portion of our noodles cooked, and you could obviously do this in a bigger batch, but this is just for little Brendan. We're gonna do that. We're gonna ladle enough of this sauce in there that it's really saucy. Also, you can obviously use whatever noodles you want. I thought these ones were kind of funny. It's the grown-up version of macaroni. It's still kind of a little kid noodle, but a little more refined. So pasta, I usually like to plate in a bowl, but there's no rules. As I get older, I realize I really like to try and balance it as often as possible. You can't really add lemon juice to this, but you can do a little bit of zest on top. This is kind of a really traditional, old school Italian pasta garnish, and I love it because it just brightens it up enough that it doesn't feel. Take some of these toasted breadcrumbs. A little bit of black pepper. A little pinch of salt to finish as well. And just because we feel like making it a little fancy for Brendan, I got a little bit of truffle oil. There's no actual truffles in truffle mac and cheese when you see it at restaurants. It's usually just truffle oil. And I always like to lighten it up, especially with pasta, just because I find it so heavy. So I'll throw a few greens in there. Just a few. So yeah, that was under 15 minutes. And you can make this, you could make this a lot healthier. If you wanted, you could cook some broccoli with the pasta. Once that pasta water is going, feel free to time your vegetables accordingly. So if the pasta's been cooked, it's gonna take 8 minutes, say. For the last 3 minutes, if you wanna add some broccoli. For the last minute, if you wanna add some spinach, you can cook all that in the same pot, save on dishes, and then drain it together and just add your cheese sauce, and then you have a spinach mac and cheese or a broccoli mac and cheese. Or you can add some meat to it and cook that separately and slice it over top, but that's it. Just a classic mac and cheese, and this is one that won't dry out. Brendan, you gonna eat this? I can't eat pasta right now. I ate too much bread earlier. I just said I don't eat, or I don't buy bread often, but I ate a fuck ton of bread today. Yeah, so thanks to whoever commented that and gave me an idea, a rough idea, and hopefully that helps. If you guys want any other ideas, or you have any ideas or things you want to see, I know a few people have been DMing me on Instagram, and I'm going to get to those dishes too. I just wanted to get to this one first because I think doing something quick is beneficial, and I think this has some good techniques that you can take to other dishes. So But yeah, keep leaving comments and keep like letting me know what you want to see. It helps me out big time. Cause sometimes I just like cook, I think, more restaurant type food, and maybe like people want simpler food. So let me know if this is something that you like more, or if you like my normal style or whatever. I just want to help you guys cook, so let me know what you want to see, and I'll see you in the next one.